What would it have been like to live in Athens in the 5th century BC? I'll tell you about this experience. I toil in fields that once belonged to my ancestors, but now serve aristocratic masters. Every sunrise brings another day of backbreaking. Labor while nobles feast in marble halls above. The tax collectors arrive like vultures, demanding grain we cannot spare for our survival. I watch my family's meager harvest disappear into their pouches, leaving us with empty stomachs, desperate to feed my children. I borrow silver from wealthy landowners at crushing interest rates. The coins feel heavy in my calloused hands, knowing they bind my family to servitude. Each season, my debts multiply like locusts, devouring everything I produce and more besides. The interest compounds faster than I can work, leaving me drowning in obligations beyond reach. Today, the creditors come to seize my ancestral farm as payment for impossible debts. I watch strangers plant stakes, marking boundaries that separate me from my heritage forever. My wife and children huddle close as we become property of our former creditors. The shackles feel cold against my wrists as freedom becomes a distant memory we once knew. I scrub floors in the same mansion where nobles decide our people's fate. Through marble columns, I glimpse their lavish symposiums, while my back aches from endless servitude. Whispers reach even the servants' quarters about a wise man named Solon. His name spreads like wildfire among the oppressed, carrying promises of justice and reform. The city erupts in celebration as Solon becomes Archon, bringing hope to common people. I dare to dream that my children might know freedom again. Under his leadership, Solon's Sisacthea decree echoes through Athens, cancelling all debts, including mine, miraculously. The invisible chains binding my family for generations suddenly snap, releasing us from bondage. I stand tall for the first time in years, breathing air that tastes of liberty. My children run freely through streets where yesterday they walked as property of others. Solon grants me a modest plot to cultivate, feeding my family from our labor. Though small, this earth belongs to us, creating dignity from soil we can call home. Under Solon's constitution, I discover voting rights based on property rather than bloodline. My voice finally counts in assemblies where decisions shape our collective future together. I walk nervously toward the agora to cast my first vote as a citizen. My hands tremble, holding the pottery shard that represents my voice in Athens' governance. Solon's laws protect the weak from powerful exploitation, creating justice we never imagined possible. His wisdom transforms Athens from aristocratic tyranny into something approaching fairness for all. Our great reformer departs, leaving us to preserve the democracy he helped create. I watch his ship sail away, carrying the architect of our newfound freedom. A charismatic leader named Pisistratus promises prosperity while gathering armed supporters around him. I fear our fragile democracy may not survive his ambitious rise to power. Pisistratus seizes control of Athens, forcing our democratic assemblies into silence and submission. The tyrant's guards patrol streets where free citizens once debated policy. Openly, our hard-won political rights vanish overnight as Pisistratus rules by decree alone. I mourn the loss of voice and vote that Solon had granted common people. Under tyranny, I learn to whisper political thoughts and avoid public gatherings that attract attention. Fear replaces the civic pride we felt during our brief democratic experiment. Pisistratus' son Hippias rules, with increasing paranoia, executing anyone suspected of opposition to tyranny. I teach my children to stay silent about political matters for survival. brave young men assassinate the tyrant's brother Hippicus in a desperate bid for freedom. Though they fail to end tyranny, their courage inspires others to resist oppression. With Spartan help, we finally drive out Hippias, celebrating liberation in streets filled with joy. The taste of freedom returns to Athens after years of oppressive, tyrannical rule. Cleisthenes emerges proposing radical reforms that will give all citizens equal voices in government. His vision of democracy surpasses even Solon's earlier attempts at creating political equality. The new tribal system mixes citizens from different regions and classes, creating broader representation. I find myself working alongside nobles and merchants as political equals for once. Ostracism allows us to banish dangerous leaders before they become tyrants threatening our democracy. I carefully inscribe a name on my pottery shard, protecting our hard-won freedom. The ecclesia gains real power to make laws and major decisions affecting all Athens. Every citizen can speak and vote regardless of wealth or family. Background in this assembly: the Council of 500 represents all tribes, ensuring every voice participates in daily governance. I volunteered to serve, knowing ordinary citizens like me now shape policy directly. This feels like genuine democracy, where every citizen participates equally in all important decisions. My vote carries the same weight as any noble's, creating true political equality. Serving on juries, I help determine justice for fellow citizens in our democratic courts. The bronze tokens in my hand represent the power we now wield over law. Democracy grants me rights but also demands civic duties I gladly accept for freedom. Military service, voting, and jury duty becomes sacred obligations, protecting our self-governance. As citizen soldiers, we defend democracy itself, rather than serving aristocratic masters blindly. Our shields bear symbols of the freedom we fight to preserve for future. We construct new public buildings where democracy can flourish, including expanded meeting spaces for assemblies. These marble halls belong to all citizens, not just the wealthy elite. I teach my sons about democratic participation and civic responsibility they will inherit. The next generation must understand both the privileges and duties of free citizenship. Our democracy rests on slave labor, creating moral contradictions that trouble my conscience daily. We celebrate freedom while denying it. To thousands who make our participation possible, demagogues attempt to manipulate assemblies for personal gain, testing our democratic institutions constantly. I learned to think critically about speeches that promise easy solutions to problems. Our democratic experiment inspires other cities, seeking alternatives to tyranny and aristocratic rule. Visitors marvel at how ordinary people govern themselves through reason and debate. I have witnessed the birth of something that will change human civilization forever. From agricultural slavery to political equality, represents humanity's greatest achievement in my lifetime.